Let's get started, shall we? So, hello and welcome to the Second Class Racing Live Q&A. My name's Duncan and I'm your host for this evening. The goal of this event is pretty simple, to introduce you to Mel G's slightly oddball lay betting strategy, which since the creation of this strategy has had 39 out of 56 winning weeks, made 184 points, which is £1,840 to £10 stakes. So in tonight's Q&A, I'm going to break down Mel's second class racing strategy track record for you quickly, tell you why this is not like other lay betting strategies or services out there, and then we're going to bring Mel on so you can ask him all of your questions about this strategy, about lay betting in general, and also how he's got such a good tan already, and we're not even in the summer. We'll also give you the chance to join Mel's second class racing service, where he'll be sharing his tips for this strategy, and he has been doing so to great effect. But you'll need to act quickly as we're only opening up membership for a short time, so we can make sure that new members don't affect the liquidity of the markets we're betting on. So first, let's have a more in-depth look at Mel's track record. So since Mel created his second class racing strategy, he's had 39 out of 56 winning weeks. That's a weekly strike rate of 70%. He's made £1,840 to £10 stakes, which is an average of about £33 per week. I'd say those results are pretty impressive. You could have halved the stakes to £5 and still made a nice £920 profit over that period, which is an average of about £16 per week. Or if you bump those stakes up to £20, you'd be up about £3,680, which is about an average of £66 per week. And if you'd gone even higher at £50 stakes, you'd be up £9,200, so nearly £10,000, and that would have been an average weekly profit of about £165. So really good stuff from Mel there. And Mel's members of second class racing have been pretty happy so far. So Ian is someone who's made £110 in a week, and these are some photos from the Telegram chat where all of the members sort of chat with each other. Ian says he's chuffed to bits with the service. Alan's first 8 weeks were all winners with the second class racing strategy, and he says well done, Mel. Cashmaster, a respected betting publisher, calls second class racing an excellent service. And we've got some feedback from 2 independent reviewers as well. So Gold Profits completed their review of Mel's service and approved the service. They said Mel's impressive 30 winning bets in a row in the first month impressed them, plus the enormous streak of 22 winning bets that followed that. They finished the review by saying, "We were thrilled to have found a profitable horse racing laying service that could be used on the Betfair exchange." And Honest Betting Reviews confirmed they're up 60 points and commended Mel on the healthy profit. They also confirmed there is no trading. It's a kind of set and forget approach. So you're probably wondering, how has Mel, who is a lifelong form picker when it comes to horse racing, how has he managed to make lay betting such a profitable venture? What exactly is this strategy? Well, we're going to ask Mel in a moment. First, I just want to make something clear. Mel's second class racing strategy is not like other lay betting strategies. That's why I called it oddball in the beginning. You see, most lay betting relies on chancing it on high odds outsiders, and you're hoping that they don't win. And that's all well and good until they do. And then pretty much just one horse can wipe out your entire bank. So if you consider laying a horse at odds of 40, like the one you can see on your screen, if it loses, you make £10, well, about £9.80, taking into account Betfair's 2% fee. But if this horse was to win, you'd lose about £390. So the chance it will win is super low, but there is still a chance. So one bet going against you could wipe out your entire account like pretty much instantly, like I said. Mel's approach doesn't have this floor built into it, and that's because of something I'm calling window 3 to 6. So what the hell is that? It's the pricing window that Mel is taking advantage of in the Betfair lay market. So Mel only ever considers laying horses in the 3 to 6 odds range, like the two examples on your screen. I wasn't able to get Mel to tell me exactly what he's looking for in this window. Maybe you could have better luck in the Q&A. But the important thing about this, the window of 3 to 6, is laying horses in this window means you'll never be laying a horse with ridiculous odds. So you're not liable to get wiped out like with other lay betting approaches. To be more specific, with Mel's strategy, if you're using £10 stakes, the potential profit on each race is £9.80, and that takes into account the Betfair 2% fee. While the max potential loss on each race is never more than £50, which is a lot less than the potential loss of, like, what was it, nearly £1,000 on that example from other lay betting strategies that I showed you. So obviously that potential profit to loss ratio is much higher than you'd get with most backing horse racing strategies, especially Mel's in his first class racing service. But it's really something special when it comes to a lay betting strategy, and only possible when you can maintain a high strike rate, which, as you've seen, Mel is able to keep that weekly strike rate very high. So that's the end of my little preamble. I'm sure you probably have lots of questions for Mel about the service. So let's see if he's there and we can have a chat with him. So Mel, are you there?
Good evening, Duncan.
No technical hiccups so far.
No whatsoever.
Apart from the pigeons on your window still, yeah, that we had to get rid of before. How are you this evening, Mel?
Very good, thank you. My horse ran today and finished second, beaten a neck, which we've all been there. Yeah. So that's a cheery uppie. And then we've got tonight. So I have foregone going to the races to watch my horse, and here I am tonight, and looking very much forward to another good Q&A.
So just so anyone who hasn't been to one of these Q&As before, what we do is I'm going to ask Mel some questions, but we also take audience questions. So if you have a question for Mel about his, Andreas says, well done, Mel's horse.
Thank you, Andreas.
Yeah, what's the name of the horse, Mel?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, you can't? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's only I don't mind, but I'm sure everyone who's on the Q&A tonight are good, honest, lovable people and will always love me to death. Yeah. But there might be someone somewhere who doesn't love me to death, and that could cause repercussions for other people. So I'd rather stay private on that.
It will just be known as Mel's horse from now on then.
Mel's horse is good enough.
Mel's
Gigi. How's that?
Yeah, sure. So if anybody has a question for Mel, at any point, through our chat, just stick it in the chat and I'll ask him. But Mel, I'm going to open up with a question.
Okay.
So lay betting, you're not known for lay betting. In fact, you're known for your first class racing service and strategy, which is extremely disciplined. It's it's studying the form books. This is very different. So how come, can you just give people the origin story of how you started getting into lay betting?
Yeah, I would say, as with many people, when the first exchange came on, BetDAC, Betfair, we all thought, oh, this is going to be easy. We can lay horses, win money. And I quickly found out through losing money that is not the case. I'd had a couple of goes over a lot of years trying to lay horses and make another income. And I failed. It was as simple as that. What I found out was the way I was approaching it, I was needing something very close to a 92% strike rate in order for me to make money. That's very difficult to maintain week after week after month. And so basically I gave up with it and concentrated on my first love, which is backing horses in the top class races, top class horses. But last year, it would have been towards the end of March. It would have been between Cheltenham Festival and the Aintree Festival. We're always on a high at Cheltenham, and then you've got to come down after Cheltenham. And I'd love to say to you it was my great brain, my great knowledge of racing, and my charm and modesty that found a route into lay betting. But it wasn't anything like that. It was a simple case of being bored one afternoon between the Cheltenham Festival and Aintree Festival. And I had a great friend, sadly passed, and his phrase always was, "What would happen if?" And that stays with me because that way I can talk about him like just now. He stays with me. And this afternoon, I picked up my iPad and I thought, oh, I wonder what would happen if. And I went to Betfair and I started to look through and I thought, I wonder what would happen if I did this and this. And I did. I placed 8 lay bets. And such was my interest, I'd actually forgotten that I'd laid them, and until the next day. And I thought, oh, I need to check just to see how we got on. And all 8 lay bets had lost, as in I had won.
You had won
8 races. And I thought, oh, quickly remember, how did you do it? And I had another go that day. And then I didn't really bother with it for a day or two, despite making a profit. And I got in touch with Josh and I said, look, I've had this idea. I've been doing this for a few weeks and it was making reasonable money with stakes to £10. So I monitored it and sent Josh and one other respectable reviewer, Peter. I sent them what I was doing, and from towards the end of March through to August, we could see this is a service that's or an approach worth putting out to the general public, and so we decided to launch it in September. All those results of the proofing period are on a spreadsheet for anyone to look at. And we launched. And me sat here now makes me very proud that anybody and everybody who joined with us in September is making what I would say is a reasonably handsome profit as I sit here just now. So that's where it came from, and we've had good success.
So I'm going to ask you about the strategy. I know that you don't want to give away some parts of it, but we can sort of talk about the process, the process you go through each day. And but it's worth just saying about the people that have joined already. And just one of the things that amazes me is the amount of messages in the Telegram group and stuff. And I think in part that's because it's a daily service. So you're getting sort of multiple bets every day, and people sort of excited to sort of communicate with each other and send messages and celebrate the winners and stuff. But so can you just, if we zoom out a bit, like what are you doing with your lay betting? It's on Betfair Exchange. What do you do each day?
So each day, at about 11:45, 11:30, 11:45, I take my first look at the Betfair markets. Now, respectfully, you won't expect me to tell you exactly what I'm looking for.
One of these Q&As, Mel, you just forget and you're telling us all the secret. Yeah.
Might do. But I know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to use the same analogy that I used with first class racing. almost everyone's got a fruit bowl in their home. There's oranges, apples, bananas, there's grapes. I'm looking at mine. I don't know what it's called, a kiwi fruit, which is not that common. But there's plenty of apples, oranges, bananas. And I'm looking for that one kiwi fruit, actually. So what, by that analogy, the kiwi fruit isn't there in every race, or even sometimes every day. So I have a look at the market and I think, yep, that's the race I want to be involved in. I can get my lay price between 3.0 and 6.0. So as soon as I've laid and matched, or even if I'm not matched at that point, the order is in with Betfair, and I know that if things go against me, I'm not going to lose more than £50 on that race. That's a maximum loss. I'm suggesting 100 point bank, £10 is the stake that we're using, and £1,000 should be more than enough to take the downside, which will happen, but the upsides will come. Back to September, when we started, nobody's 1,000 bank has been remotely challenged. In fact, I will say the first 8 weeks of the service was a winning week every week. So it was a fabulous start for everyone. So once I see my horse at the lay price that I'm looking for, I lay it and move on to the next race. I never, ever go back to a race looking to see if the market has changed. That to me is looking for bets, so you've got plenty of bets, and I don't like that approach. I look at the market once, the horse I want is there or it's not there, and I move on. And let's say we've got 5 lays picked out. That's it. I just leave it. We do not use the keep button, and I'm sure most people listening to this will understand what that is. The advantage of that is if we are matched and there is a non-runner, then there usually will be a rule 4 and our liability is reduced. But if there is a non-runner and we are not matched, then we are cancelled for that race. And I much prefer to be cancelled rather than the rule 4. And the reason is it's one horse comes out, that's one more horse that can't beat us. And depending on the price would suggest that how good that horse is. And if it's a good horse that comes out, then that really ups our risk. So we don't use the keep button. We lay and we set and forget, basically.
So just from the perspective of people that are in the group, in the community, they get sort of, here's, you wake up, you at about 11, you go look through the markets, you're looking for that kiwi fruit in each of the races, and then members of the community will get sort of screenshots of 1 to 6 bets maybe in a day.
Telegram is excellent for me because it means there's nowhere to hide, and I engage with everyone and anyone who wants to engage with me. Everything is transparent, everything is above board, and I put my Betfair today's bets, my bets. I do a screenshot of that, and that screenshot goes on to Telegram. So as I do know, other advisors, shall we say, never bet, but they'll ask their clients to bet. I ask my clients just to follow what I'm doing. So if I'm winning, so are my clients. If we have a losing day, well, I've had to bite the bullet as well. We don't hide anything. If someone's got something to say, it'll be read, it'll be answered, and if we win, great. If we lose, okay, take it on the chin. If you you should have your bank in place. And if we lose that day, we go again tomorrow. It's a business. I'm trying to take the gambling out of what we're doing. Treat it like a business. If you started a business tomorrow selling fruit and veg, you can't start it with no money. So don't come into this business of betting if you have no money. And don't come in with your life savings. Don't come in with the mortgage money and the rent money or your holiday money. Come in to it with money that is has no call upon it. And then you'll enjoy the winners more and you'll take the losers like a man or a woman.
I think so this is higher frequency betting than when you're backing horses, your approach to backing horses. It's quite exciting. Like people are excited to get the daily bets, that kind of thing. But it's quite an unemotional thing in the sense of it's set and forget. It's like put these bets on. You don't have to monitor them all the time. You're not kind of going back and checking them and have, it's very mechanical in a way. You put them on, you can go about, and you either win or you don't, or lose or you don't. And then over time the track record builds up. So the risk here, we've talked about the risk. The risk is a lot lower compared to other lay betting strategies, and it's the high strike rate and the betting bank, the combination of that makes what you're doing possible, right? So you were saying with other lay betting strategies, you might need a 90% win rate to make it work.
Yeah. When I first started to look at what I thought was needed to win, it was near 92% strike rate on laying. This is, and I gave up because I knew I couldn't maintain that. With second class racing, if we hit 80% strike rate, then there's one of three things, and all three are what's the word I'm thinking of? All three things are apparent. You may lose a little bit, you may break even, and it's the break even that people say, "Oh, I've broken even," but really what they're saying is they've lost. But with 80%, we can break even, or we could win a little bit. So it's lose a little, break even, win a little at 80% strike rate. And we've been running along nicely around the 84% mark. So we're absolutely on the right side. And that is why I can say that those people that started out with me September last year, and thankfully was quite a few, they're all in profit as I sit here with their bank never ever in any danger.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a few questions, maybe sort of back a bit of the nitty gritty of the service, and also how it might complement people's back betting if they're backing horses. So the first of those questions. And also if anyone has any questions in the audience, just stick them in the chat, and I'll ask Mel. So the first of those questions is: so all of these bets are on Betfair, which is a massive benefit, really, because so many people are having problems with bookmaker restrictions. Either banning accounts or limiting the amount you can bet. So, what's your view on that, I guess? And just to confirm, like, all these bets are on Betfair, yeah?
Yes.
And also the question that sometimes comes up is, can you use other exchange markets? I think Smart Markets and a few others usually.
Yeah, BetDAC is another one. So the answer is yes, you can use other exchanges. The answer is yes. But I prefer Betfair, A, for the liquidity, B, for the 2% commission that we pay on our winnings. And it's extremely reliable, it's honest, and it works for us. So you don't have to have a Betfair account, but I would suggest you should if you can. but you can use other exchanges. There's one thing as well, I run first class racing, and it's my pride and joy because we win year after year after year. And first class racing came about because I needed to halt the long losing run, which is usually the bane of any system, any approach, is the long losing run. So it's extremely disciplined, this first class racing. We could have one bet in a month. We could have 3 bets in a month. But the strike rate is very close to the 50% on first class racing service. So it's disciplined and great patience required. The bank is in place. Now, second class racing is no different. It's disciplined. As I said, when I start to look at the markets, I don't keep going back to races to see, is that race now applicable? I don't do that. I look at it once. If it's there, I've got it. If it's not, I move on. I have no interest in trying to find 8, 10, 12, 15 lay bets in a day. That's not my driver. The patience is, some days there's only 1. Some days there's only 2. The last 7 months has been something of a nightmare for betting and laying, with rain almost every day in almost every part of the country. This made for small fields in the national hunt racing. It made for non-runner after non-runner. And we struggled with 1 lay one day, 2 lays another, no lays another, 1 another day. But we just kept chipping away. That's the patience. That's the discipline. And we just kept adding to our profits. Now, I will say, and I think it's a good time to say it, we do not win every single day, every single week. We do not. We had a flying start from September to December. Then came January, and it was like the floor was taken from beneath our feet. But we've all got a bank. The bank was in no danger. We'd lost some profits in January, but it all came back doing exactly the same thing during February, March, April, and into May. It all came back. That's profit coming back, not building our bank back up. Our bank was sat wherever people want to keep their bank. Personally, I keep mine in Betfair. Then I know it's totally devoid of any call. But we had a difficult January, but we just kept doing.
I think that's the nature. Yeah, it's the nature of it.
Right.
And I think so. One of my questions was about how could this complement somebody following your back bets, or if they have their own backing strategy? And you've pretty much just covered that. And I guess the similarity between your two strategies is there's discipline across both of them. Just because you're betting more frequently here doesn't mean you're doing it carelessly or emotionally. I guess but the frequency here is a nice counter to the low frequency of the first class racing.
If I just pick up on that before you move on to the next point. Sure. On first class racing, as I mentioned, it might be 1 bet in a month. It might be 2, might be 3. But my clients and almost anybody that's in betting wants to bet more regular. They want to bet every day. They want to bet several horses every day. And I'll make the promise now, you're going to lose money. I don't know anybody, and I've put this challenge out before. I don't know anybody who's backing every day of every week of every month that is making proper monies. So first class racing, I think we're into our 3rd year, and you get to know your clients because they stay with you. Why wouldn't they? They're winning. But I always got the feeling that they would love more selections. I would love to give them more selections, but if I do, I know we're going to lose. So for a lot of those clients with the second class racing, which is lay betting, they're getting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 lay bets each day. So that's how it complements first class race betting, where you're only having 1 or 2 a month. The lay bets are going in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 a day. So it satiates that need to bet.
So, and I should mention, and we'll talk about this in a minute, we've got a special deal for anyone who's interested in the two services together, especially because you've got a lot of race season is coming up, basically. But a few more questions about the service. And then also, I wanted to ask you just about automation and your thoughts on betting AI and that kind of thing, because I think it might be interesting to get your take. So we've kind of covered, could you just tell people about the practicalities? So how many bets per day and what time of day? We'll just start with that and then we'll get into bank size again.
Okay, second class racing, which is this service we're talking about tonight. I would say average would be 5 lays per day in the course of a year. Average would be about 5. Sorry, what was the other piece, Duncan?
And what sort of time? So yeah, what time do those bets sort of like arrive in people?
Okay, I'm sat at my iPad, laptop, or PC from around 11:30 until 11:45, and it's in that time that I'm looking at the markets and I will be making the selections. The selections will hit Telegram and a dedicated website between 11:45 and midday, unless there's something extraordinary. And if there is, I put a message up on Telegram and explain why it's extraordinary. But in the high 90%, the bets are available between 11:45 and 12. The suggestion is to place your lay bet. Do not hit the keep button. Do not do anything else. Just place your lay bet. If it gets matched immediately, excellent. If it doesn't get matched immediately, then it's your order is in until the race time where it may get matched. And basically that's it, set and forget.
So like, it might take someone 10, 15 minutes to do that, basically.
That would be a beginner. Very much a beginner would take 15 minutes. Once you've got the bets or the lays, once you've got the names of the horses, I would say you're talking 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to place those lays.
Which is pretty good when we're talking about the track record so far and making, I think it was like an average of over £30 per week. You know, a few minutes each day to put on the bets and then not think about it. It's pretty good. Good alternative income, I think.
It is. And some people might scoff, well, what was it, £30 a week? That's not a lot. Well, 52 weeks, if that's the average, you know, there's £1,500 there. That's your subs paid for. It's a holiday or two for you and your loved one. There's lots of meals out in that, but it's also much better than a losing service.
And you can always, like we talked about, you can start with smaller stakes. You can bump up those stakes if you feel a bit more confident.
Absolutely. I would hope the track record, which is the proofing period from around March, end of March last year, 2023, to May 2024. So what's that, 15, 16 months? I would hope that would give confidence. I would hope the fact that I'm trying to be as honest to everyone by saying you will have losing days and weeks. I'm sorry, but it's going to happen, and it will happen anywhere. But overall, you can see that the graph is going north, and that's what I would hope would give you confidence. And if you've got your bank in place, then you can take the blow on the chin, unless your name is Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
And
He did
and
all
that,
right.
yeah, he did very well. And that happens. One day you're going to get beaten, and it's the same with what we do. One day you'll get beaten, but be there to come back on day two, and Tyson Fury will come back another day as well. It's life. It's real. It's realism, and I'm not going to tell anyone I guarantee you will win, because I can't give that guarantee to me. But what I will say, a guarantee, I'll give you the best chance that I know to make you a winner.
It's a numbers game at the end of the day, isn't it? If you're managing your points, your point bank properly, and you've got a kind of strike rate, a consistent strike rate, and you know the amount you can lose because you're only laying horses between that 3 to 6 price odds window. It's a numbers game over the long term, and then it just becomes managing stuff emotionally, which I think the community chat and that kind of thing massively helps with, because anybody who's wavering with managing that, for a losing period or whatever, they can drop a message in the chat and everybody can kind of reinforce that, especially the longer term messages, people that have been through a few of those dips and troughs or whatever.
And also, in the unlikely event that I'm not available or Josh is not available, there will be someone in the Telegram group with the knowledge, because they've been there long enough to help that new person. And I just want to say something. It's not a phrase, but it's a bit of a saying I came up with many years ago when I started to go public with my racing passion, if you will. And I mentioned the word scoff a few moments ago. People may scoff at £30 a week profit, 33 I think it was showing, but that's £1,500–1,600 at the end of the year. You've got to let it build up. And what I used to say to people, if you're an employee, go into your boss on January the 1st and say, could I have my annual salary today, please? And I promise I'll come into work for the next 365 days. I mean, you're not going to get your annual salary on January the 1st. You've got to keep going day after day, week after week, and build it up to an annual salary. And what we're doing here it really is no different. And I will never try to kid people that this is easy, because it isn't. Because you'd have 50 people like me sat here, a different person a week for a year saying how great they are. They're not. It is not that easy. It's damned difficult and stressful and costly when you get it wrong.
But I mean, you can take that burden for people. I mean,
yeah,
because it's easy for me to just hop into the Telegram and follow the bet.
I don't really like the phrase, but I do the heavy lifting. I hate that phrase, but that's what I do. It's my business, it's my knowledge, my abilities that I am passing on to others, in the hope that they will stop losing money with other services, and I do hope sincerely they make money with our services that we have.
So I'm going to save that AI question for the very end, because I want to ask you about upcoming some of the events that are coming up, and I want to ask. Well, I've got a couple of questions, but first I'll just say, anyone that's interested in joining second class racing today, we've got a special sort of bundle deal where you can get access to both of Mel's services. So his lay betting service, second class racing, and his backing service, first class racing. And you'll be able to get your first 3 months of first class racing for £99.97, which I think is about half off the usual price. So that's if you're joining both services today. So what I wanted to ask you is, so can you just talk people through, like, we're coming into like a big 3 months for horse racing. First, my question is, does that matter for second class racing? You know, does that affect your strategy for the lay betting? And then can you talk people through, maybe just talk them through first class racing? So first of all, what are the upcoming horse racing events, and will that affect second class racing and your approach?
Okay, right. We are now approaching end of May. So we've got the whole summer, June, July, August into September, 4 months, full on top class racing on the turf flat. And first class racing operates in Ireland, in France, and in the UK, of course. It's almost a big racing meet every week, but you've got the obvious ones, Newmarket, Royal Ascot, the Goodwood Festival. Ireland this week is their Guineas, 2,000 guineas on Saturday, 1,000 guineas on Sunday. The French put on incredible racing almost every Sunday. They've got Longchamp this Sunday. Now, this is going to sound like an awful feed into first class racing, why you should join first class racing. So I'm going to apologize to everyone now that I only found out today for sure that first class racing may have a bet on Thursday. That will be our first bet for 2 weeks since we backed Tihupu at Fairy House. That was our last bet, and that one pulling a cart. It does look like we'll have one on Thursday. The only thing I don't know at the minute is price. So is that enough on first class racing?
Well, no, that's a nice tea. You're doing my job for me, Mel. Just
you would not have known what I know. I've watched this horse coming off, but it's been declared to run on Thursday.
So that's a good incentive for anybody that's interested in first class racing, and also it speaks to the discipline. Just to remind people, the reason there's not been a bet for 2 weeks isn't some kind of error or lack of judgment on Mel's part. It's because that's the discipline in that service.
There's been nothing to back.
So we're entering this period of, you've got Royal Ascot, all kinds of horse racing coming up. But that, in terms of second class racing, because it's a bit different, isn't it?
It is. I apologise. You said would it affect? And the answer is no, because where first class racing is 100% form based, second class racing is 100% market based. So it has no effect on second class racing. And I would expect that we now, as the turf flat racing season gets going, we ought to be having 4 and 5 and 6 lays per day. We ought, weather permitting, fields permitting. But I mentioned Newmarket, but you've got, as I say, Royal Ascot, Goodwood, you've got York, you've got Chester, it's Sandown. There's a huge meeting on Thursday at Sandown, the Brigadier Gerard meeting. It's a group race for the Brigadier Gerard race. And it's just huge racing every single week now until September, weather permitting, up and down the country. Fabulous. I say I can't wait, but my years go by as it's like 7 minutes, it's another year gone by. I'm always working 7 days ahead, working on races. Soon as entries are made, then I'm waiting for declarations. But today, being Tuesday, I've already looked at next Monday's racing, making notes. So that's the nature of the business. And with it being France, UK and Ireland, it's absolutely full on 7 days a week.
Yeah, so I mean, it's legitimately a very good time to get into horse racing if you're not, to get Mel's tips if you don't currently have them, and you've got the kind of consistency, almost I just call it like the arrogant consistency of the second class racing strategy, where it's just like it doesn't care what events are going on, it just steadily doing the bets day by day and building up, and then you've got the kind of precision of the other strategy, and they're a nice sort of like combination of it.
Yeah, I can promise everyone that's listening, and you, Duncan, because you can see me, I can make this promise. Second class racing has one lay going this evening. One, I couldn't tell you what the meeting is. Two, I most certainly couldn't tell you what time it is. And three, I have not got a clue of the horse's name. Because
it's not your horse, that.
No,
yeah?
it's not. It's not. And I'm not allowed to lay my own horse, so I'll add that. So that would be against the rules. So that's second class racing. I'm not interested in the name of the horse, the trainer, the jockey, the course, the time, the going. All the things I'm interested in first class racing are not there in second class racing. I'm just interested in the market at the time that I look at it, which is between the 11:30 and midday half hour. So we have a lay. I couldn't tell you. Maybe if Josh is listening, which I'm sure he is, he might want to put it up. It might have already gone, but maybe it hasn't. But Josh could put it up.
I think he's in the chat, so we'll have a look. So I'll talk people through that, the deal for both services. There'll also be an option that I'll talk people through if they're just interested in your lay betting service. But just as a kind of like final question, and I'm hoping this won't derail the entire evening, because I've got a feeling we could probably do a whole hour Q&A on this. But so we're living in an era of automation and AI and all this kind of stuff, and I just wondered what your thoughts were into, could a robot do what you're doing in the Betfair markets, or does it need that human touch?
I don't think it could do either second class racing or first class racing. What it could do is what I have done in the past much quicker, which is going through old form books, going through old Racing Posts, and before that, the old Sporting Life. And I'm not talking online, I'm talking hard copies. I'm talking of a whole year's worth of newspapers sat around my desk in my office, and I'm going through them one at a time. So speed, yes, it could beat me, but the human touch, which you need, in my opinion, with the form book, no, I'd beat it. I'd be quite happy to beat it. I have no interest in AI. Maybe I just think AI is a shortcut to many things, to help the human person. But I also think it might be a shortcut to blowing up the world. But I'll be long gone by then, and I couldn't give a tuppenny damn. People will have to do what I've had to do, and that's fight my own corner. But no, AI is a shortcut. I'm sure it will help me in some instances. Might save my life one day on the operating table, in which case it is the most fantastic thing, because it will save lots of people's lives. And I'm sure AI, if used correctly, it's like the internet, isn't it, Duncan? the internet is the most fantastic thing.
Yeah, it can be a positive or a negative thing. Yeah.
But then the criminals work out how to use it better than you and I. And look what we have to do every single day to try to avoid a scam, whether it's on your bank account or wherever. So AI used properly, I think it is probably a massive step forward for mankind, but used wrongly, which it will be, unfortunately, very, very dangerous. But in racing, now wipe the floor with it.
we covered a whole spectrum there of life
Didn't
and
we
death
just?
and sports
Didn't we
betting.
just?
I've
That's me.
just from my own experience in the industry, different industries I work in, the people at the top who are using it most effectively, they're using it as a tool. They're not using it to do their skill for them. Like you said, they might be using it to speed up some of the processes, like the research process or something.
Yes.
Especially in betting markets, like, you're able to get an edge if a bookmaker is simply price. If a bookmaker is using simple averages to price up a niche market, you're able to get an edge there if you bring in that kind of more that human intuition, more context, etc. And essentially, the AI we have at the moment is a kind of middle. It's an aggregate of the middle. It's like average. So, in terms of it, like being able to give you an edge, if it was able to give that edge, I think it would. The edge would evaporate very quickly. Anyway, that's nothing to do with it. Do you? Would you? So, I'm going to talk people through it. Their options to join second class racing in a moment. Is there anybody who's listened tonight who's interested in joining second class racing and first class racing if they're interested in that bundled deal? Have you got sort of a message or a take home for them?
Yeah. Have we done the clients' questions, or are we coming back to that? Not clients.
So the chat is very slow tonight. I don't know whether it's a technical thing, but we haven't really had many questions. So I've just, okay. That's why I threw in my AI. I felt like it was okay to talk about AI for a bit.
Well, I'll talk second class racing because that's what this service is. I would love, obviously, for you to come and join us in second class racing. I make no guarantees other than what I ask you to do, I'm doing myself. What I can say hand on heart is that those clients that joined us last September and that are still with us today, in many instances, they're doing better than the service, which is fabulous. But everyone that's still with us today is making money and good money from when they joined. They had a big dip in January, but it was only a dip that took profits. It did not touch their bank. And that's what I would say to you. Don't think for one moment that you're going to have a backseat ride in a Rolls Royce. You're not. Occasionally, there will be times when you've got to grit your teeth, know you've got your banking in place, and ride the storm, because we will come out of it the other end. On to first class racing. Well, that's so very, very different. With first class racing, it's very specialist. We only operate in the top class races. So we're betting on top class horses in Ireland, in the UK, and in France. I will just mention it's very likely we could be having a bet on Thursday, but no promise, but it's very likely. First class racing, again, I would suggest a bank of £1,000. I suggest a 20-point bank to divide that by 20, which gives you bets of £50. £50 is the very minimum. And again, I would suggest you could divide your bank by 10 so that you're betting in £100.
Just throw in there the strike. I mean, I've got a couple of questions in the chat now that we've now we said this, but the strike rate for first class racing is very high for
Close to
for the
50,
for the type of strategy, yeah, which is so other horse racing services you might be lucky to get sort of 20%,
indeed.
and yeah, FCR is close to 50. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off there, Mel.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So we've got it might be a bet on Thursday for FCR. So I'll just give you these two questions from the chat.
Sure.
And also, just before I forget, if anybody wants to see full track records, you can go to thebetchat.com. I think you can find links in the track record section. If you can't, email clients at thebetchat.com and we'll send you the spreadsheet links, or any questions you've got, you can email clients at thebetchat.com. So Neil says, what happens if you can't place the bets at 12 p.m? I think he's talking about the lay bets for second class racing.
If you can't, you don't have to lay them at 12 o'clock midday. What I am saying is I will get the lay bets out to all clients by midday. Now, if you have an issue with midday, what I would say to you is, as long as you can get your lay bet on before the off, then you're covered at the price or better that I recommend. So don't worry if you're busy at midday. If you need to wait till 12:30, 1:15, 1 o'clock, it's very likely our races are post 2 p.m, especially this time of year, and evening racing as well. So don't let that deter you. What I would say as well, if you're serious and you want to give it a go, I know Duncan will cover this, but I want to say it now whilst we're talking. We do give a cast iron money back guarantee. So if you joined and found after a week you just cannot get the bets on in time and it's not working for you, there will be a money back guarantee.
Yeah, I'll talk people through the ins and outs of the service in a minute. But yeah, you just email if you want your money back in that period. So Kieran has asked, are all results proofed?
Every single one. And that they are proofed by my clients, because my personal, a screenshot of my personal bets from Betfair is sent to Telegram and everyone can see what I've already done. My money is already on the horses before I ask my clients to do the same. So there's no better proofing than my clients.
Yeah, and again, like the track records on the website, thebetchat.com, or you can email clients at thebetchat.com.
Could I just say something,
Yep.
please? Yes, all the spreadsheets for all the results for both services are on the website, and please don't look at them and think, oh, that's only £33 profit. Oh, that's only whatever profit. Don't look for the amount of profit that we're making, although that's important. If you're looking where it says profit, it means you're not losing. And then I would say to you, the service you've just come from to join us, were you looking at profits or losses? Keep the positive. We are making profits.
And to be clear, the track record for second class racing is up to £1,800 odd pounds to £10 stakes, so it's doing very well. Eddie's asked, so we've got a couple more questions coming in.
Yeah,
Eddie asked,
I'm here for as long as you want me.
Eddie asked, do you have Telegram and what about email? So am I right in thinking for both services you use Telegram and then the private members website to post the bets?
Yes, both services are Telegram. Telegram is a free portal to download. It's free. And we have a website also for second class racing and first class racing where you can go and get the bets as well as Telegram.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. So Stephen or Stefan, sorry, has asked, what about the sustainability rules that are coming in? Will they affect possible future transactions? So Could you just explain what the sustainability rules are, and then do you know what they are?
No, I don't.
Okay,
Sustainable what? Sustainable as in bookmakers and their affordability checks. Is that
yeah, I think I've
sustainability?
got a feeling it might be because that there was talk around that, wasn't there? So I think it
Yeah.
might be about the affordability checks. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a tip, people out there. I know bookmakers who I despise them, but I love them because we need them. And I despise them for their hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I keep an amount of money in all my accounts. So, and if I win, I bring it down to the level that I want. So, what that means is that I am not adding to, I'm not making deposits to my bookmaking accounts. And so I'm not shining up anywhere that I've had 3, 4, 6 deposits in a month.
Mm.
So I think it's going under the radar. I have never been questioned on affordability.
So you might be questioning that if you're taking money in and out of an account a lot. Is that the kind of
I
gist of
think
that?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think basically if you're putting a lump sum in or an amount in and you're not kind of trading money in and out all the time, you should be fine. Yeah.
Should be fine. Yeah.
It's also worth noting, like, affordability checks like that. So it's a common thing in the States with investing. You know, you kind of have to sign a declaration with investing sort of organizations and stuff. So I guess there is a, you know, like, it's a thing out there, but it shouldn't affect Mel's services. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now, Mel, is I'm going to talk people through those deals.
Okay.
And what they get in the service. I'll go over the track record. Have you got a one line to finish on? Could be about the pigeons on your windowsill.
One line. Right. I can't think of a one line.
I don't want to limit you to one line. I just thought,
okay. Right.
two
All
lines,
those people that have taken time out the day to listen in and listen to Duncan and I, thank you very much. I'd love to see you in the Telegram groups. You're very welcome. What I've said tonight is what we do. It's what happens. Everything is above board. Everything is transparent, and we win and we lose, but overall we win. A lot of my clients win because they've gone in with that starting bank in place. So they ride the losses and they keep the winnings. Take the pressure off yourself is what I would say to you. Get your bank in place. And make sure there's no call on it, and then that will give you the very best chance of taking advantage of what we do at first class racing and second class racing. And I hope be great if you join both services. And as I'm talking to you now, so I will talk to you in Telegram. Thanks very much. And thank you, Duncan.
No, yeah, cheers for your time, taking your time out this evening, Mel, especially as your horses racing as well.
Yes, it's okay. If it had won, I might have sat here with a very droopy face because I missed the winner's enclosure. But no, I'm going for a pint. I'm going to meet some people at 8:30. I'm taking wifey, and we're going to have an hour in the pub, couple of pints, and there we go. Start relaxing.
Yeah,
this show business stuff, you know, you need a drink afterwards.
Yeah, that's you can mimic Mel's lifestyle and also go down the pub and have a drink.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, you're going to sign off now, Mel. So thank you for your time again.
Thank you, and good luck to us all. Thank you.
Right. So thank you for everyone who just watched the Q&A with Mel, and for those of you that asked questions as well. I think hopefully, you know, Mel gave you a good idea of what's involved in second class racing and in first class racing, and how they sort of complement each other as services. So if you're still watching, that might mean you are interested in becoming a member of second class racing and maybe first class racing too. So we've covered most of the details, the ins and outs of how the service works during the Q&A. So if you're ready to join, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the offer link into the chat now. So you should see that like around the video or in the chat area. And if you click through, it will take you to a secure order form where you can sign up for second class racing, and then you can also get that deal on first class racing too. So you're getting your first 3 months for about half price on first class racing, and all you have to do is just click the little checkbox to add it to your order. So for anyone who's still on the fence, still thinking it through whether you want to join the services or not, I'm going to break down exactly what's involved, what you get in the next few minutes. So we're going to cover what you get as part of the service. I'm going to re-go over the recommended starting bank size, and then we're going to talk through the price, how much does the service cost. So without further ado, let's have a look. So you get two main things with your second class racing membership, and they're both on the screen now. Number one is Mel's lay tips. And number two is access to the private second class racing Telegram community, which we've talked a bit about. So let's have a look at Mel's tips. To remind you that, going to remind you of the track record. So over a 56-week period, had 39 winning weeks. There's a weekly strike rate of 70%. And to £10 stakes, that's about £1,840 profit, which works out about an average of £33 per week. So Mel's members have been happy. As I showed you earlier, Ian made £110 in a week. He says he's chuffed to bits with the service. Alan's first 8 weeks were all winners. Mel mentioned how well the service did in those first 8 weeks. Alan says, well done, Mel. Cashmaster, who's a respected betting publisher, is 40 points up and calls second class racing an excellent service. And then we have those two independent reviewers that gave Mel's service a go to. So with Gold Profits completing their review and approving the service, they complimented Mel's impressive 30 winning bets in a row in the first month alone, plus the enormous streak of 22 winning bets that followed that. They finished their review by saying, we were thrilled to have found a profitable horse racing laying service that could be used on Betfair Exchange. Honest Betting Reviews confirmed they're up 60 plus points and commended Mel on the healthy profit. They also confirmed there is no trading, it's a set and forget approach, as Mel talked about in the Q&A. So this is how it works. Mel's lay tips will be posted to the private members area on the BetChat website and sent out via Telegram, which, as we talked about, is a chat app for your phone, a bit like WhatsApp. So you can expect all bets to be on the Betfair Exchange. I think there was an average of about 6 bets per day, but it can be as high as 12 bets, but it could be lower too. Some days there might not be bets, and the number of days per week that you could be betting is 7. So as we talked about, this is a set and forget strategy. As Mel said, he doesn't watch the races, he just puts on a bet and gets on with his day. At the beginning, it could take you maybe 10 minutes, but it would take a few minutes once you're used to putting on those bets. And the reason that it is set and forget is because Mel trusts the maths of the strategy. Remember, he's only recommending bets within that pricing window of 3 to 6 on Betfair, which means you'll never get wiped out by a high odds lay bet going against you. Instead, if you're using £10 stakes, your losses are capped at £50 per race, while your winners can make £9.80, and that's taking into account Betfair's 2% fee, and it's Mel's high strike rate which makes this possible. So that's Mel's tips covered. Next, we have the Telegram community. So the Telegram communities are a huge part of all of the bet chat services. They're where you can go to chat with other members. You can discuss the bets, celebrate winners, commiserate each other on the losses, and like help stay the course. I think that's a big thing when you're trying to be disciplined with your betting. And you can also plan what to spend your newfound profits on, which is fun. So the Telegram group is also your direct line to Mel. You'll be able to ask him all of your questions about the service, the strategy, or lay betting in general in the chat, and he's very responsive. It's a bit like how you're able to ask him questions this evening, but just on an ongoing basis. So starting bank size, just as a recap. So Mel recommends 100-point starting bank, which is a relatively low number for lay betting approaches. But as we've talked about, it's Mel's strike rate that makes that low lay betting bank possible. So if you're going for £10 stakes, you'll want a £1,000 starting bank. £20 stakes, you want a £2,000 starting bank, and so on. So that was just a quick recap of starting bank size. So what about the price of membership? How much does it cost? So you've got two options. The price for quarterly membership is £199 and 97 pence, and the normal price for annual membership is £599 and 97 pence, which compared to quarterly essentially gives you a discount of about £199 and 91 pence. That's about a 25% discount if you're taking the annual option. So also be aware that membership for new members will close to people on midnight on Saturday, the 1st of June, which is, I don't think it's this Saturday, it's the Saturday after. This is so we can make sure the influx of new members doesn't affect the liquidity of the markets that Mel's betting on. But of course, both membership options come with BetChat's ironclad money-back guarantee, as Mel mentioned. So you've got 30-day money-back guarantee for quarterly membership and 60-day money-back guarantee for annual membership. This way you can take Mel, his lay tips, and the community for a kind of test drive. You can come in, give it a go, play some of the bets, see if you like it. If you don't, just let one of our BetChat support team know, and they'll refund every penny if you're in that refund window. The support team is also there to answer any questions you might have about your membership. So let me just reiterate the special offer that we've got for you tonight. So all you have to do when you click through to the secure order form is tick a little box, and you can get your first 3 months of membership to Mel's first class racing service for about half price, so half off the usual price. So it's about £99 and 97 pence for those first 3 months, and these are really good 3 months to be doing that in. As Mel said, you've got Royal Ascot and a whole bunch of, it's basically like horse racing season for the next 3 months. So you'll be able to get Mel's backing bets for all of that. As he said, his first class racing approach is very disciplined. I think probably you're going to see more bets during this window because there's so many events going on, and it's a really nice complement to the lay betting service. So as I say, you can get that half price for your first quarter of first class racing just on the order form if you want to add that to your second class racing membership today. So that's it. I hope I've done a all right job at talking you through that offer and just the service in general. As I say, you can click through to the secure order form. There should be a link below the webinar window or in the chat box. I'm going to stay around for a couple more minutes and just answer any questions if anyone has any about anything I've just said. There's a slight lag in the chat, so about 10 seconds. So if you've got a question, stick it in there and I'll answer it. Thank you to everyone for coming and watching, and those of you that asked questions, asked Mel questions. That's kind of the point of these live events, so you can sort of speak to Mel and ask him the stuff you want. If you think of any questions you have afterwards, once we shut down tonight, you can email clients@thebetchat.com. You can see track record for both of Mel's services on thebetchat.com in the track record section. You can also, if you have if you can't find that, email clients@thebetchat.com and we can send you the links. And as I say, I'll just stick around for a minute or so. Let's see if I can get the offer back up as well. There you go. So yeah, just to recap, you do get a discount if you take the annual membership. It works out about 25% off compared to the quarterly. But it's up to you what you would want to do. Got a feeling there might not be any questions this evening because the chat was a bit quieter than usual. Don't know what it is, maybe because it's been sunny outside here. Let's have a look. Neil's asked, does Mel do anything on sports betting, cricket, tennis, football, etc.? Not that I know of. He's horse racing focused, is Mel G. But we did mention the boxing earlier, didn't we? But I don't think he had any bets on that. And so first class racing is a horse tipping service. It's the backing one. And second class racing is horse tipping, but it's laying horses. So he's very kind of focused in what he bets on. Got BetChat Josh in the chat and BetChat Andrea helping out. I imagine you both got full pints of alcohol. Okay, I'm going to head off. As I said, if you have any questions about what we've covered tonight, you can email clients@thebetchat.com. Thank you again to everyone who attended, and I will see you on the next one of these. So cheers.